My name's Greyson. I go to UWM, currently a part of the 5 Point Neighborhood Association. And at UWM, currently studying education, pursuing a master's degree. And this is my presentation on financial literacy. I'll be going over different kind of bank accounts, checking and savings, and then also different kinds of cards, debit cards and credit cards. So first off with bank accounts here, a checking account is going to be kind of what you think of when you think of a bank account. It's going to be attached to your debit card or your credit card or something like that. And it's like what you'll put your direct deposit into. And so it's sort of the money you have at the moment that can be spent. So some features of a checking account is it's for daily transactions like paying bills or making purchases. Again, it's when you go to the grocery store, use your debit card to buy your groceries, or like you go and buy a video game or something like that with your debit card or credit card. And again, some features, they're easy to access funds in your checking account versus the savings account. A checking account, you can go to your ATM, put your debit card in and take your money out right away. No penalties or anything like that. It's money you can access right away. But there's also not going to be any interest or very low interest rates. Now, with the savings account, you're going to have higher interest rates, but with a checking account, I think because you can access it at any time, there's not going to be any interest rate on that. You're also going to have some monthly fees and also some minimum balance requirements. That just means that the bank wants you to have a certain amount of money in there. For example, like a lot of banks are like, don't go below $20 or something like that. And again, the checking account, some examples would be paying for groceries, utilities, rent, or things like that. The savings account, on the other hand, is designed for like saving large amounts of money for like large one-time purchases, like a down payment on a house, you're buying a car, very, very expensive things that you would not normally use with like your checking account. So some features here, they're going to have higher interest rates. This just means that you're going to be getting money back every month based on how much money you actually have in there. So again, savings account are designed to have very, very large amounts of money in them, but they're not meant for everyone. Obviously, checking account, it's nice to have your money be able to be accessed like at any moment. Savings account, it'll take a few days for you to access that. Again, with the kind of limited access, there's going to be withdrawal limits. So sometimes in a savings account, you can only withdraw a couple thousand at a time or something like that. So if you did need a large amount of money all at once, you would really need to plan ahead. In addition to that, there's also going to be penalties for excessive transactions. So if you're constantly taking money out of a savings account, you may want to switch to a checking account where you'll be able to get your money without any fees. Again, this is used for like kind of emergency funds or like large and specific goals. And some examples would be down payment on a house, a really expensive vacation, or a large investment like a car. We go to the next account or the next page. All right, so credit cards versus debit cards. Credit cards are obviously used to build your credit, but they're also really nice because it lets you sort of spend money that you may not have at that moment. So if on Tuesday you don't, have like your check from your work yet, but you want to make a large transaction, you can with a credit card, and then you can pay it back at the end of the month once you're paid from your work. So this would be these kind of things would include like extended warranties sort of thing, where like you have spent a certain amount of money and then you're able to pay it back at the end of the month, and you don't have to worry about having that money in that moment. However, there are going to be penalties if you do not pay it back, and your credit score is going to tank. And your credit score is really important for like a lot of things, like getting a loan or like buying a car or even like trying to get an apartment. A lot of apartments, especially Milwaukee, I think require a 640 credit score. And so if you're planning on getting an apartment anytime soon, you might as well get a credit card, start slowly building your credit, and then you won't have to have a co-signer on your lease or anything like that. So debit cards, on the other hand, you are spending the money you have it's the money in your account. You can spend it, right away, but it's also going to be taken right away. But there's not going to be like a system where you have to pay it back at the end of the month because you're paying it right away. There's also no real need for like an approval. Some credit cards, they will like look at your pre-existing credit score and then kind of judge whether or not you're ready for that credit card. So you may try to get a really, really nice credit card, but the bank says no because your credit score is not all that good. And so that's where kind of like a debit card steps in, where you're not really going to get denied for a debit card. You can go into a bank, open an account, and they'll give you a debit card. It's also very simple kind of transactions where it's the money you have. I have $50 in my account. I spent 45. I now have 5, compared to a credit card where you may kind of lose track of like, how much should I spend on this or how much should I spend on this? And then you kind of have to calculate at the end of the month and then pay it back. There's also like a lower risk of overspending because with a credit card, you may have $1,000 limit, but then from your work, you only get paid $900. And so you're short 100 and then you're getting like fees and everything. Your credit score is going down. Compared to a debit card, you can only spend the amount you have. There's also going to be lower fees with this, like monthly fees compared to a credit card. So it may be nice just for kind of starting out a bank account. And then once you want to work towards getting an apartment, or like getting a down payment on a house or something like that, where you need to have a good credit score, a credit card would be important. And a good website or a good resource to use for finding good credit cards or good debit cards or high yield savings account or credit cards that give you points towards like Flyers miles or something like that would be NerdWallet. On NerdWallet, you can find all types of things. You could find, like I bank with Chase, so I could type in Chase credit card where I get Flyers miles because I want to take a vacation. I can find that and they can give me a credit card or at least a recommendation for a credit card to kind of get me towards that goal. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Thank you so much, Greyson.